So I have changed my mind about making the Indigo Speaker channel about politics. I'm developing a separate thing with a buddy of mine. It'll be like a left-right talk show kind of deal. I don't know if I'm going to tell anyone about that. I might just develop that totally separately. Life is very complex, and I had to recognize that a lot of elements of how I think, unconsciously even, like base perspectives, have a lot more regional influence in them than I'd previously recognized. And I feel like I don't understand enough of the country and enough of the world well enough to really predict the outcomes of my words. And I mean, even the same for where I do live. That doesn't mean that I'm being censored. It doesn't mean that I'm being intimidated or anything like that. Freedom of speech is also freedom to not speak unless you know that you want to have heard everything that you have to say. And it's not that I don't still have the same concerns or evolving concerns as it is. It's that it took me 4 years to put together the general picture of what was about to happen, and then it happened, and it's happening, and it's evolving faster than I can keep track of even where it's at. Because I have to compare lots of different sources and like kind of collect evidence over time to figure out what of all the narratives out there are the elements that actually fit together with some kind of verifiable reality. And that's a slow process, you know? And if I ever do come back to the idea of creating some kind of group or organization, I don't want it to be about that. I don't want that to be my legacy. There are people who are better at that than I am. There are people who have better ideas than I do. I'm not saying that means my ideas aren't worthy to be heard. But I have one life to give to the world. And I've already wasted plenty of time on every span of life learning that I needed to be capable of saying anything worth saying. And my goal throughout my life has been to speak to eternal truth and deep wisdom, and that's not about ignoring what's going on in the world around you or what your impact upon it can be. But taking it all and weaving it together into like a kind of alarming rant or 10, and then feeding that to a few hundred or a few thousand like wizards and witches and wise ones and psychics, that doesn't sound like a great idea. So I'm going to stop doing that. I'm going to try to remember that all of the leaders in all of the factions are still human beings, and any one human being can only be aware of so much at one time. And I think that it is important for liberals and conservatives to try to rediscover their common ground. But I think what my life is meant for is to help people keep track of their souls. Or at least do what I can to encourage them to take care of their own souls, you know? It's not like I'm Jean Grey from the X-Men or Jesus or anything like that. I'm just a fucking weirdo, but a lot of weirdos. There are a lot of us, and it does feel like the veils of reality are thin in a way. And there are a lot of processions happening on broad timescales that are all kind of culminating in a relatively short period of time. It's not that I don't think that worldly affairs need to be matters of concern for us. It's that at least as far as my public spiritual connection and role, that's not what I need to be using that for. Besides, I'm still a Smurf anyway. I mean, if a Smurf takes the red pill, it doesn't turn the Smurf red, it just makes him... Keep your eyes open, people. Take care of yourselves and take care of your friends and family. And remember that the virtues in our hearts are not uncommon virtues, but common ones. Don't let the climate of the day blind you to that.